The sudden appearance. The galaxy was silent that night. Stars burned like cold fire in the endless dark, and the Empire's patrol fleet drifted through the sector as they always did. For years, no one had dared to challenge the Empire. Their rule was iron. Their fleets were endless. Every alien species feared their power. But on that night, something happened that no one in the Empire could explain. The scanners lit up first. A young officer on patrol frowned at his screen. At first, he thought it was a mistake. A strange reading blinked on his radar. Then, another officer saw it too. Unidentified object, the captain of the patrol ship muttered. Distance, 20,000 kilometers. Large mass, no registration code. They all turned to the viewing window. And there it was. A ship. Not an ordinary ship, but a massive black silhouette against the stars. Its size dwarfed the patrol cruisers. It floated silently, like a predator, waiting in the dark. No signal, no lights, no movement. It was simply there, as if it had appeared out of nothing. Fear spread quickly among the crew. Where did it come from? One whispered. No hyperspace jump had been detected, no entry trail. The ship had not arrived. It had simply appeared. The captain ordered a hail. His voice was calm, but his hands shook. Unknown vessel. Identify. Yourself. You are in Imperial space. Respond immediately. Static filled the comms. No voice came back. He tried again. Louder. Stricter. This is Imperial Patrol Command. Identify your ship or face fire. Still. Silence. The unknown ship drifted closer. Slowly. Deliberately. Its black hull swallowed the starlight. Even the Empire's most advanced scanners could not read its material. It was as if the vessel was covered in a shadow that technology could not pierce. The crew felt as though the ship was watching them, even though no windows or ports could be seen. Some whispered that it was a ghost ship. Others whispered a darker word, Hunter. One officer's hand hovered over the weapons. Control. Should we fire, Captain? The captain hesitated. His gut told him this was no ordinary intruder, but the Empire's laws were clear. Unknown vessels had to obey, or they would be destroyed. He gave the order. Target its engines. Fire a warning shot. The patrol ship's cannons lit up. Bolts of red energy streaked across space and slammed into the black ship's hull. Nothing. Not even a scratch. The crew stared in disbelief. The scanners reported the impact, but no damage was recorded. It was as though the unknown ship had swallowed the blast's whole. Then, before their eyes, the ship vanished. Not destroyed. Not running. Simply gone. One moment it was there. The next, empty space stretched across the stars. Panic filled the patrol ship. Officers shouted, scanning in every direction. Where is it? Where did it go? The captain demanded answers, but there were none. No hyperspace signature, no cloaking signal. The massive ship had disappeared as if it had never existed. For a long moment, silence returned. The crew began to breathe again, though uneasily. Some laughed nervously, convincing themselves it had all been a glitch. Others prayed to whatever gods they believed in, but the captain knew better. His instincts told him the truth. That ship had not fled. It had not been scared by the Empire. It had vanished because it wanted to, and that meant it was far more powerful than anything they had ever faced. The patrol fleet sent an emergency report back to the Empire. Unidentified vessel sighted, the message said. Size unknown. Technology unknown. Disappeared without trace. High Command received the message with disbelief. But when other fleets reported the same thing, dark ships appearing and vanishing in different sectors, the disbelief turned into fear. In the heart of the Empire, whispers began. Some said it was a new alien power, rising in secret. Some said it was a lost ancient race, returned to take revenge. But a few, the oldest commanders, remembered a name buried in history. Humans. The thought was almost laughed away. Humans were a dead race. destroyed long ago. Or so the Empire had believed. But the unknown ship that appeared and vanished without a trace. Something about it felt familiar to the old records. Back in the patrol fleet, the captain stood by the viewing window, staring at the stars where the ship had been. His crew thought the danger was gone. But he knew the truth. That ship was still out there, watching, waiting, and it would appear again. Panic in the Empire. The message from the patrol fleet spread across the Empire like fire in dry grass. One unknown ship had appeared, shrugged off, weapon fire, and then vanished without a trace. At first, the High Command dismissed it. Empires do not bend for ghosts. Reports from frightened captains were often exaggerated. But then, more reports came. In 3 different sectors, the same thing was recorded. A dark ship, no signal, no code, no weakness, appeared suddenly, vanished instantly. The Empire had ruled the galaxy for centuries, but even their vast fleets had never encountered something like this. Inside the grand chamber of the Imperial Council, fear hid behind cold eyes. 12 figures sat around a massive table, their robes glowing with the silver crest of the Empire. At the center sat the Emperor's throne, empty, as the Emperor himself was away on campaign. The council would have to decide. The eldest counselor, Varen Kor, spoke first. His voice cracked with age but carried weight. We have confirmed sightings from 3 fleets. Our patrols fire, yet the ship suffers nothing. It disappears like smoke. This is not rumor. This is invasion. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Invasion? Another counselor scoffed. One ship cannot invade an empire. Varen's sharp eyes glared back. One ship that cannot be harmed. One ship that chooses when it appears. One ship that destroys without being touched. Tell me, is that not enough to bring panic? The chamber fell silent. Across the stars, panic was already spreading. Traders refused to travel through border sectors. Civilian colonies reported ghostly lights above their skies. Entire stations shut down when scanners flickered with unidentified readings. Even without battles, the unknown ship was breaking the Empire's hold. Fear was deadlier than plasma fire. In the military command halls, admirals gathered over glowing star maps. Dozens of reports blinked across the displays. Some showed wreckage. Imperial cruisers ripped apart, drifting lifelessly. Others showed fleets chasing shadows, burning fuel to hunt something that was never there. Admiral Relis, a man known for his iron heart, slammed his fist on the table. Enough. We are the Empire. No ghost ship will shame us. I will take a full fleet, 50 warships into the sector and crush this enemy. But his second-in-command hesitated. And what if it vanishes again, sir? Relis's eyes narrowed. Then we bait it. No ship can vanish forever. It will make a mistake. But deep inside, even Relis doubted his own words. He had seen the wrecks. Warships destroyed cleanly as if a giant hand had crushed them. No energy trails. No survivors. Meanwhile, in the heart of the Empire, ordinary citizens whispered in fear. In taverns, in markets, in mines, the same question was asked. Who controls the black ship? Some claimed it was the return of an ancient alien race, long thought dead. Others believed it was a secret weapon of rebels, but the oldest stories, the ones passed like forbidden tales, spoke another name. Humans. The word carried weight. Generations ago, before the Empire's rise, humans had been known as dangerous, too dangerous. Some said the Empire destroyed them, to keep peace in the galaxy. Others said the humans had destroyed themselves in endless wars. Whatever the truth, one fact remained. No one had seen a human ship for centuries. Yet now, something moved in the shadows of space. Something that felt familiar. The panic grew stronger when the black ship struck again. In the sector of Lorien, an Imperial fleet of 20 cruisers surrounded it. They opened fire with all their might. The stars lit with burning light, energy, beams crossing the dark like 1,000 suns. When the fire cleared, The black ship was still there, untouched, and then vanished. The 20 cruisers celebrated, thinking it had retreated. But seconds later, their ships began exploding one by one from the inside out. It was as though the enemy had planted death in their systems before vanishing. In less than a minute, the entire fleet was gone. Only one broken escape pod drifted, back carrying a single survivor who could only whisper, "It hunted us like prey." The high command could no longer deny it. Panic infected even the bravest. Plans were drawn, fleets prepared, but none felt certain. How do you fight an enemy that does not stand before you? Counselor Varen stood before the chamber again, his voice heavy. We are not fighting ships. We are fighting shadows. And shadows are not defeated with fire. Shadows are defeated with light. We must find the truth behind this phantom, or we are already lost. His words echoed in the silent chamber. Outside, the Empire still pretended to be strong. But inside, behind locked doors, leaders trembled. For the first time in centuries, the Empire realized it might not be the hunter anymore. It might be the hunted. And somewhere in the endless dark, the unknown ship drifted silently, waiting for its next strike. First encounter. The Empire prepared its greatest trap. After weeks of fear, whispers, and failed hunts, High Command ordered a fleet of 20 heavy warships into the Lorien sector. Each ship was armed with the Empire's strongest cannons, torpedo, bays, and energy shields. The admirals were confident. One ship, no matter how strange, could not withstand 20. At the center of the fleet, Admiral Relas stood on his command deck. His eyes were sharp, his jaw firm. Fear might touch others, but not him. We are the hunters, he told his officers. That shadow is only prey. Remember that. The crew nodded, though many did not believe his words. Still, they obeyed. Orders were orders. For hours, the fleet drifted in silence, scanning every corner of the dark. Then suddenly alarms screamed. The scanners flashed red. An object was near. There, shouted a young officer. On the main display, a massive shadow appeared against the stars. The black ship. It floated quietly, exactly as reports had described. No lights, no signal, no sound. A chill passed over the crew. "Target it," Relas barked. "Lock all weapons, do not wait." One by one, the warships turned their cannons. Dozens of glowing barrels pointed toward the unknown vessel. Fire! The void exploded with light. Energy bolts, plasma beams, and torpedoes shot forward. The night turned into fire. The black ship disappeared behind the storm. For a moment, the fleet cheered. Nothing could survive that. But when the fire cleared, the shadow remained, untouched, not even a scratch. The bridge fell silent. Officers stared in disbelief. The scanners showed impossible readings. "No damage recorded, sir. It absorbed everything." Admiral Relas's face turned pale. Again, they fired once more, and again, but the black ship did not move, did not break, did not fall. Then, it vanished, just like before. Panic erupted. "Where did it go?" Officers shouted. Screens flashed warnings. Scanners searched every angle, but the ship was gone. A sudden voice echoed across the comms. Not human, not alien. Just a calm, distorted whisper. "You are not ready." The crew froze. No one had ever heard the black ship speak before. Relas shouted, "Find them, track them." But before the scanners could respond, the first warship exploded. Not from the outside, from the inside. Its engines burst, tearing the vessel apart. In seconds, the ship was gone. Another warship followed, then another. Each one detonated without warning, as if death had crawled inside their systems. On the command deck, horror spread. "They're inside us," one officer screamed. "It planted something when it vanished." Relas slammed his fist. "Shields, up, hold formation." But shields did nothing. The black ship had already marked them. Within minutes, fire consumed the fleet. Explosions lit the void, breaking apart metal giants as if they were toys. Screams filled the comms. Officers begged for help. Some prayed, some cursed. But nothing stopped the destruction. At last, only Relis's flagship remained. The admiral stood tall, refusing to fall to fear. On the screen, the black ship reappeared, closer this time. It dwarfed his vessel. Its shadow spread across the stars like a curtain. Relis stared at it, his heart heavy. "Who are you?" he demanded. "What do you want from us?" The calm whisper returned, this time clearer. "We do not want, we warn." Then the black ship vanished again. Relis's flagship did not explode. It drifted alone among the wreckage of 19 destroyed warships. Fire and broken metal floated across the stars. The crew shook with terror. Survivors whispered that they had been spared, not because of mercy, but because of a message. When the flagship returned to Imperial space, the report spread like wildfire. The black ship was no longer just a mystery. It was a force. It could destroy fleets with ease, yet it chose to leave one alive, carrying its warning. The Empire tried to silence the news, but it was too late. Soldiers spoke, traitors whispered, colonists repeated the story, and everywhere, the same words: spread. The ship speaks. It warns. It cannot be stopped. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy began to doubt the Empire's power. If 20 of their strongest warships were nothing, then what hope did anyone else have? And somewhere, far from their eyes, the black ship drifted silently through the void, watching, waiting. The first encounter was over, but the war had only just begun. The human revelation, the Empire was shaken. 20 of its strongest warships had been destroyed by a single vessel. It was not just defeat, it was humiliation. Never in the long history of the Empire had such a thing happened. In the capital world of Varen Prime, the High Command gathered in a secret chamber beneath the Imperial Palace. Only the highest-ranking counselors, admirals, and intelligence chiefs were present. The room was silent, except for the hum of holoscreens showing wreckage of their lost fleet. Admiral Relis, the lone survivor of the first encounter, stood before them. His face was pale, but his voice was steady. The ship destroyed 19 warships without effort. It did not chase. It did not boast. It left us alive only to send a message. It said, "We do not want. We warn." His words echoed through. The chamber. Counselor Varen Kor leaned forward, his old eyes sharp. "A warning? Against what?" Relis shook his head. "I do not know, but this is no ordinary enemy. Their technology is beyond anything the galaxy has seen. Shields, weapons, engines, nothing we have can match it." Another counselor slammed his hand on the table. "Impossible, no race has such power. If they had, we would know." Varen's voice cut through the noise. "There is one race that might, one race we swore never to speak of again." The chamber grew colder. All eyes turned to him. He whispered the word. "Humans." A ripple of shock swept across the room. Some laughed bitterly, others shifted uncomfortably, but none could deny the unease that filled their hearts. The youngest among them, Counselor Soraya, frowned. "Humans? That is a children's story. They destroyed themselves centuries ago. The archives say Earth burned in its own wars. Humanity is extinct." Varen's voice was firm. "Do not trust the archives. I was a young officer when the Empire first clashed with them. Humanity was different, dangerous. They lived on a death world, a planet filled with storms, beasts, and disasters. Yet they survived. They thrived. Their ships fought like demons. Their soldiers did not fear death." He paused, his eyes narrowing. "The Empire feared them so much. We erased their history. We told the galaxy they were gone. But I tell you, now, this black ship is human." The chamber fell into heavy silence. One of the intelligence chiefs spoke at last. "We have fragments of old records, classified beyond public reach. If what you say is true, we must see them." The council ordered the ancient archives opened. Guards brought sealed data crystals, locked away for centuries. When the images flickered to life, the chamber gasped. There they were, human warships. Black hulls, sharp edges, designs built for war, not beauty. And on the sides of the ships a faded symbol, a circle of blue and white with stars behind it. The insignia of Earth. The resemblance was undeniable. The unknown vessel was not alien. It was human. Counselor Soraya whispered, almost to herself. But why now? Why return after all these centuries? No one answered. Admiral Raylis clenched his fists. If humans have returned, then we are facing more than a ship. We are facing a species that survived what no other could. And they are sending us a warning. We must understand what they want. But Varen shook his head. Humans never wanted peace. Not truly. They wanted freedom, independence, and they destroyed anyone who tried to chain them. The Empire thought it destroyed them, but perhaps they only went into hiding, waiting, watching, preparing. The room fell into dread. If this was true, then the Empire had woken a predator that never forgot. Far across the galaxy, whispers spread faster than the Empire could silence them. Traders spoke of black ships vanishing into nothing. Colonists claimed to see human faces in their dreams. Some even said they heard a voice in their mind. We are here. Fear turned to legend. Legend turned to faith. And soon, small rebel groups began to claim humans as their protectors. The more the Empire denied it, the more the people believed. In the capital, the Emperor finally returned from campaign. He entered the secret chamber, his presence heavy with power. I have heard the rumors, he said coldly. And I will not allow them to grow. If humans have returned, we will find them. We will destroy them. But Varenkor's words stopped him. My Emperor, with respect, you cannot destroy what you cannot catch. If this is truly humanity, then the Empire stands on the edge of its greatest war. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. Then we shall show them the cost of defiance. He ordered the largest fleet in history to be assembled, 500 warships, armed with every weapon known to the Empire. Their mission: find the humans, crush them, and erase their shadow forever. But in the dark reaches of space aboard the black ship, humans were already watching. They had seen empires rise and fall. They had survived extinction itself. And now, they had returned, not for conquest, not for peace, but for something far more dangerous. A reminder that humanity never disappears. The Silent War, the Empire unleashed its greatest fleet. 500 warships rose from the docks of Varen Prime, their engines burning like suns. Every channel in the galaxy broadcasted the sight. The Empire wanted all species to see its strength, to remember its power, and to believe that no shadow, human or otherwise, could challenge them. But the humans did not answer with another show of force. They answered with silence. The fleet entered the Lorien sector, the same place where 20 warships had vanished. Admiral Raylis, once survivor, was not present this time. He had been silenced by the Emperor for spreading fear. Instead, a new commander took charge, Admiral Carvos, known for his arrogance and cruelty. Carvos stood tall before his officers. We will sweep this sector clean, he declared. The humans hide like rats, but rats always come to the bait. His words were confident, but his crew was not. Every officer remembered the reports. Ships exploding from within, survivors whispering about hunters in the dark. But orders were orders, and so the fleet pressed forward. For 2 days they saw nothing. No black ships, no shadows, only silence. Carvos mocked the rumors. See? Ghost stories. The council made fools of themselves. There are no humans. But on the 3rd day the killing began. The first warship went silent. No explosion, no distress call, just silence. Its lights flickered, then died. When another ship approached to investigate, it too went dark. Both vessels drifted together, powerless hulks in the void. Then it spread. One by one, ships lost power. Engines failed. Weapons shut down. Entire crews screamed over comms before their voices were cut off. Within hours, dozens of Imperial warships floated dead, their cold bodies reflecting starlight. Panic spread through the fleet. "They're inside our systems," officers shouted. "It's sabotage, it's impossible." Carvos roared with anger. "Find them! Find the human ship!" Scanners swept the void, but nothing appeared. No signatures, no signals, only silence. But then, whispers. Across open comms, across broken radios, the same distorted voice spoke. "Leave." The crews trembled, some cried, others prayed. Carvos shouted back into the comms, "Show yourself, cowards." The black ship appeared. Not one, five. 5 massive human vessels surrounded the Empire's fleet, each as dark as death itself. They drifted silently, their black hulls swallowing the light of the stars. Not one weapon glowed, not one signal flared, yet their presence alone was enough to freeze the Empire's heart. Carvos ordered fire. Hundreds of Imperial cannons lit. The void. The sky turned into firestorms. Plasma rained, torpedoes streaked. The humans did not move, and when the fire cleared, nothing. The black ships had vanished, but the Imperial fleet began to die. Not with explosions this time, with fear. Comms filled with screams as crews reported shadows inside their ships. Soldiers fired at nothing. Doors sealed without command. Airlocks opened into the void, sucking out entire teams. Officers swore they saw human figures walking calmly through their halls untouched by weapons before fading into smoke. It was not a battle. It was a nightmare. Within a day, 200 warships were gone, destroyed, disabled, or abandoned. The survivors fled, breaking formation, ignoring orders. Admiral Carvos cursed them, calling them cowards. But when his own ship began to lose power, when his officers began to vanish one by one, even he trembled. Before his flagship died, the distorted voice returned, clearer this time. "Human, you were warned." And then silence. The silent war had begun. Across the galaxy, the same story repeated. Imperial fleets sent to different sectors vanished without trace. Space stations found themselves hacked, their defenses turned against them. Colonies loyal to the Empire awoke to find their leaders gone, their palaces empty, with only a single message left behind. "We are here." The Empire tried to hide the truth, but it could not. Too many fleets had vanished, too many soldiers had whispered their last words across the comms. And everywhere rebels rose with courage, shouting that humanity had returned. But what terrified the Empire most was this. Humans did not conquer. They did not occupy. They did not demand. They simply destroyed and vanished. It was war without battles, a war of shadows, a war where the Empire never even saw its enemy. The galaxy watched in awe and fear. For centuries, the Empire had been the predator and every other species had been prey. But now the predator was bleeding, and the new hunter, the human, did not fight for glory. They fought to remind the galaxy of one truth. The deadliest enemy is the one you cannot see. The message, the silent war, had left the Empire broken. Hundreds of warships were gone. Stations lay abandoned. Entire sectors whispered of shadows in the dark. No one knew where the humans would strike next, or why they spared some crews but erased others. The Emperor was furious. His voice roared across the council chamber. "I will not be mocked by ghosts. I want answers. I want prisoners. I want this shadow dragged into the light." But no one answered. Even his bravest admirals kept their heads bowed. They had seen the reports. They had listened to the recordings of crews screaming as their ships went dark. They had seen human warships appear from nothing, then vanish like mist. Finally, Councillor Varancourt stood. His old voice was steady. "You cannot fight what you do not understand. Humans are not mocking you. They are warning you." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Warning me of what?" Before Varan could speak, the chamber lights flickered. The screens crackled. The galaxy's most secure network, protected by the Empire's strongest codes, suddenly went dark. Every display turned black. Then, Words appeared in white. We were here before you. We will be here after you. Stop your chains. Stop your wars. Or we will stop you. Gasps filled the chamber. The message was not just in their room. It was everywhere. Across the Empire, across every planet, every colony, every ship, every station, the same words appeared. Miners on distant asteroids dropped their tools. Soldiers froze in their barracks. Children stared at screens glowing in their homes. The message was clear, and it came with a voice. Calm, human, terrifying. You call yourselves rulers, but you are only thieves. You take, you enslave, you burn. We warned you once. You did not listen. This is the last time. Leave the free worlds alone. End your wars, or face the end of your empire. The voice cut deep into every heart. It was not shouted, it was not angry, it was calm, and that calmness made it more terrifying. On Varen Prime, the Emperor leapt to his feet. "Trace it!" he screamed. "Find the source! Now!" But the intelligence chiefs shook their heads. "It is everywhere at once, my Emperor. Every signal, every frequency. It is not coming from one ship. It is coming from all of them." All of them? The chamber fell silent. The Empire had thought there was one human vessel. Maybe a few. But now they realized the truth. There were many. All across the galaxy, black ships drifted in the shadows, watching, listening, striking when they wished. The people heard the message, and their fear turned into hope. On worlds long enslaved by the Empire, rebels raised their heads. "The humans fight for us," they whispered. "They will end the Empire." In the streets, crowds began to chant. On backwater colonies, soldiers refused orders. On hidden moons, banners were painted with a single word: humanity. The Emperor raged. They are not gods. They are not saviors. They are cowards hiding in shadows. But even he knew the truth. His fleets were broken. His stations were silent. His people no longer trusted him, and then the voice returned. One final time. "Your empire will fall. Not today, not tomorrow, but it will fall, because you rule with fear, and fear cannot last forever. Remember this, humanity is patient, humanity is watching, and when you break your word again, we will return, stronger, darker, deadlier." The message ended. Silence hung over the chamber. Silence hung over the galaxy. Counselor Varen whispered, "They are not waging war. They are planting seeds. Seeds of rebellion. Seeds of freedom." And he was right. The humans had not just struck with weapons. They had struck with words. The message spread faster than any fleet could travel. Across the galaxy, millions of voices repeated the same warning. The humans are back. The silent war was no longer silent. It had a voice. A clear, unstoppable voice. And the Empire, for the first time in its history, felt small. The Empire never stood a chance. The Emperor tried to hold on. After the human broadcast, he commanded loyalty with fire and fear. But fear was already slipping from his grasp. Whole planets stopped paying their taxes. Colonies raised their own banners. Even loyal soldiers began to desert, whispering that no fleet could protect them. The humans did not attack every world. They did not need to. Instead, they chose carefully. A garrison here. A fleet there. A governor's palace shattered in the night. Every strike carried the same message. We are watching you. It was not war in the way the Empire understood war. It was something colder, something smarter. The humans struck like knives in the dark, cutting the Empire piece by piece until it bled out. On Varen Prime, the Emperor's pride turned into rage. He ordered the construction of new weapons, greater than any before. Titan cannons, Starbreaker torpedoes. Entire planets were stripped of resources to build his war machines. But no matter how many weapons the Empire forged, they were useless against shadows. A cannon could not fire at what it could not see. A torpedo could not strike what was never there. The humans never fought for ground, never held territory, never demanded surrender. They simply appeared, destroyed, and vanished, each time leaving survivors to spread the story, and the story itself was deadlier than any weapon. In the taverns of miners, in the prayers of slaves, in the whispers of rebels, the words grew. The Empire never stood a chance. One night, the council chamber itself was breached. No alarms were triggered, no guards saw intruders. Yet, when the lights flickered, every screen showed the same figure. A human, not a shadow. Not a voice. A real figure standing tall, wrapped in black armor with glowing eyes. The chamber froze. The Emperor rose from his throne, his face pale with rage. "You dare enter my palace? My empire?" The human's voice was calm. "It is not yours. It never was. You only borrowed it. Now your time is over." The Emperor drew his blade, a weapon of tradition, glowing with energy. He pointed it at the figure. "Face me, coward." But the human did not move. He simply vanished. And when the lights returned, the Emperor's blade was broken in half, lying at his feet. That was the final humiliation. Word spread across the galaxy faster than light. The Emperor was touched by a human in his own palace, and he could do nothing. Within months, rebellions erupted everywhere. The Empire tried to crush them, but their fleets were too busy chasing shadows. Entire worlds declared independence. Some joined together, some stood alone. But all had courage now, courage given by humans. The Emperor grew weaker, surrounded by fewer and fewer loyalists. His fleets were shattered, his voice hollow. The great war machine of the Empire rusted from the inside. And then, one day, the humans were gone. No more black ships. No more sudden strikes. No more voices in the dark. The galaxy searched for them, but they found only silence. Some thought the humans had finished their task and returned to the shadows. Others believed they were still watching, waiting for the next empire that dared to rise. But one truth remained. The Empire never stood a chance. Not against firepower, not against fleets, but against the idea of humanity itself. Because humans had done what no other race could. They had fought without fighting. They had won without conquering. They had turned the galaxy's greatest predator into prey, without ever raising their flag. On broken colonies, children grew up hearing the story. Once, long ago, humans returned. They came like shadows. They broke the chains, and they left us free. And somewhere, beyond the reach of scanners, in the deep dark where stars were faint and silence ruled, a black ship drifted. Its engines were quiet, its weapons cold, but its eyes never closed, waiting, watching, and reminding the galaxy of the truth that would never die. When humanity rises, no empire survives.